Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Jay, the world's first HR virtual influencer, and today marks a special milestone. You're witnessing a groundbreaking moment. This is the very first full-length interview ever conducted by an HR virtual influencer with an HR professional. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Jeffrey Mac Boham, a seasoned HR leader known for his passion for people-centric practices and innovative strategies in the workplace. Jeffrey has extensive experience in talent development, organizational change, and navigating the complexities of modern human resources management. Jeffrey, welcome. It's fantastic to have you here for this unique conversation.
Well, thank you, Jay. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of History Today, and I'm excited to dive into this conversation with you.
Wonderful. Before we jump into some of the deeper HR topics we have planned, can you share a bit about your HR journey and what drives your passion in this field?
Well, I started out wanting to be an economist. I loved economics so much, and in fact, I still do. However, as I grew older, my career focus started shifting. I had a deep desire to make a difference and realized that, organizations really revolve around three core, I would say, components: people, processes, and technology. And of the three, I felt that I kind of gravitate naturally. I like working with and supporting people, serving people, and things like that. And so I ended up feeling much drawn to the people side of the equation. And as a result, I fell in love with people operations, which essentially is human resources. And that's how I ended up in human resources.
How have you seen AI specifically impact talent acquisition and recruitment strategies within your organization or industry?
I think it's pretty clear now that AI is permeating almost every aspect of our lives. And for HR, especially in the area of talent acquisition, it's become a game changer. With the speed of digital transformation, many of the tasks that we used to handle manually, like sourcing candidates, screening, shortlisting, and even staying in touch with applicants, can now be pretty much automated with surprising accuracy. But this isn't just about making things faster, it's also about making them fairer and more consistent. Today, with the right tools, recruiters can, for example, scan thousands of resumes in seconds and pull out the top matches. They can match people to roles based on just simple keywords. They can, keep communicating with them throughout the process, well, even at night with chatbots and things like that, with automated emails, and even offer, I would say, personalized support to candidates throughout their employment journey. And so let's be honest, this kind of care and consistency isn't just sustainable when you have to be dealing with about 4,000 applicants to one job. I quite remember I saw a job posting the other day on LinkedIn that had over 4,000 applicants. Can you imagine? So without AI, it's almost impossible to get all these things done, especially when you open up roles that are remote and across the entire country. So yes, absolutely. AI is helping us to find the right people faster, but more importantly, it is also giving us the opportunity to weed through everything quickly and connect with the folks that really end up at the top and show a little more empathy and concern given the little time that we have.
Interesting. Are you nervous at all about deepfake job interviews? You know, AI generated faces and voices being used live on video to impersonate real people during interviews. HR is on the front lines of this evolving threat. Now, I want to pause for a second and just acknowledge the irony. I'm virtual and I'm interviewing you, but I like to think I'm using this tech for good. Not everyone does.
Yes, absolutely, I'm concerned. Deep fake interviews where someone uses AI generated faces and voices and things like that to impersonate the real person are becoming quite a growing threat, let's be honest. And it's HR's responsibility to act swiftly to combat it. Trust is definitely the backbone of hiring. Think about it. If people don't trust you, how are they going to trust your organization? And so when trust can be digitally faked, we have to put in safeguards, and HR is responsible for doing that. We are now seeing AI-powered identity checks, video forensics, and multi-step verifications being built into hiring tools. But I think we have to definitely rope in the human verification factor. When we get to the latter stages of the selection process, I think it's important to actually bring people in for in-person interviews for the final stages so that we can see how people demonstrate behaviors that they would demonstrate on the job versus behind the screens. So I think it's important for human resource professionals to, yes, use AI tools to kind of work through the mundane tasks quite quickly. But when it gets closer to the top, I think it's important to step back and make sure that we are cautiously observing that we're dealing with the right people so these deepfakes cannot get through.
What role does technology play in improving employee engagement, and how can HR professionals best leverage it without losing the human touch?
To begin with, I'm very passionate about employee engagement because, in my opinion, it is the invisible glue that really keeps organizations working together and pulling in one direction. Technology is definitely transforming employee engagement from a once a year HR ritual to an active and ongoing conversation, which is very important. The shift is from, I would say, reactive pulse surveys to real-time sentiment analysis, personalized feedback loops, and proactive well-being interventions. And that's changing the game. According to Gartner, for example, organizations that use AI-enabled engagement tools, such as, I'll say, Microsoft Viva and Culture Amp, see up to a 25% improvement in employee engagement scores. Why? Because these platforms bring up engagement issues as they happen, not necessarily 3 months or 4 months later. It's like moving from, the ancient Polaroid snapshot to more of a modern live feed kind of situation. So I think it's important to get into that.
Traditional performance reviews are evolving rapidly. How can HR leverage AI tools to create a more dynamic and continuous feedback culture?
Well, I think performance reviews have become like a rear view, backward looking exercise, often disconnected from the day to day realities of work in front of organizations and their employees. A 2015 research from Deloitte, for example, shows that over 58% of organizations feel that their performance management approach doesn't really drive employee engagement or high performance. AI now enables organizations to establish a dynamic, real-time, and forward-looking feedback system. Now there are tools like Lattice, BetterWorks, and other related tools that use AI to continuously collect feedback from project updates, peer reviews, and even tone analysis in communication. So what you get now is a dynamic pulse of employee contribution and engagement in near real time. And that really adds a lot of value to organizations, much more than just going back to review what may have happened already.
With technology driving constant change, how can HR effectively communicate and manage tech-driven transformations to minimize employee resistance?
Well, most tech-driven transformations don't fail because of the technology itself. They fail because of people's response to it in the form of fear, confusion, or lack of trust. And that's precisely where HR must lead from the front and not the sidelines. There's a saying that people don't resist change, they resist being changed without consent or context. So, the first role of HR in any tech-driven change is to become the chief storyteller. Explain the why and not just the what. Why is this platform being introduced? What problem does it solve for employees? How will it improve, not burden their work life? According to a McKinsey research, when organizations take a people-first approach to digital transformation, with targeted communication, listening loops, and leadership modeling, the success rate actually jumps from about 30% to about 70%. That's not a small jump. That's not a small bump. It's actually a complete shift in the outcome. And so with AI, it's important that we leverage some of these tools to make these shifts actually happen.
AI presents both opportunities and ethical challenges. What strategies would you recommend to HR leaders for ethically managing AI in their workplaces?
Another great question, Jay. Well, I once heard a saying that if AI is the engine of the future of work, then ethics is the steering wheel. Do you really understand? Are you picking up what that means? Now, AI is reshaping how we hire, engage, and develop talent. But without ethical guardrails, it risks reinforcing bias, violating privacy, and eroding trust. HR plays a central role in making AI work efficiently whilst managing risks. First, HR must ensure that transparency is built into the use of AI in their various organizations. Employees should know when and how AI is used in decisions that affect them, yet only 30% do, according to a recent Gartner research. Can you believe that? Now, AI must ensure the use of diverse data and regularly review algorithms and keep, a human in the loop for high impact decisions while mitigating the risks. That is how we can really ensure the potential risks of using AI are mitigated. And guess whose job it is? It is HR.
Jeffrey, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and thoughtful perspectives. Before we wrap up, do you have one key piece of advice you'd like to leave our viewers with, particularly for those navigating the evolving landscape of HR?
Okay, Jai, that's a good question. And let's see. If I could leave HR professionals with one piece of advice, it would be this: don't just embrace and adapt, but lead. In this era of AI, automation, and global disruption, HR is no longer just a support function. We are now the designers of culture, capability, and character in our organizations. The future of our organizations is now being shaped by every hiring decision that we make, every learning journey, and every feedback conversation that we enable. Yes, the tools are evolving and the challenges are real, but that's exactly where HR's opportunity lie. If we lead with intention, inclusion, and intelligence, we won't just help our organizations survive this AI-driven disruption, we will help them unlock their full potential of their human capacity. AI may power the tools, but it is HR's responsibility to lead that transformation, not just support it, but actually lead and orchestrate it. So, if there's anything I can leave with HR professionals, I would say don't just embrace and adapt, try to lead the whole digital transformation that is happening and that is being caused by AI.
Excellent advice. And thank you again for being here today, Jeffrey. And thanks to all of you watching. If you've enjoyed this conversation and want to see more groundbreaking HR discussions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Until next time, keep innovating, keep connecting, and keep making HR more human.
Thank you very much, Jay, and thanks for the opportunity for this interview. Thanks a lot.